week, I'm going to have 3 years that I could come back. So this book represents that journey. That journey. When we published this book, uh, we were thinking in the legacy that this book could mm, do, in the impact that it could do, and it became not only an Amazon bestseller, it won the International Book Award as a best true memoir 2025. Then 1 year after, I decided and published the Spanish version. That is this that you see here. The Spanish version, From Hero to Villain is the Héroe Villano. This book, in a week, I remember that day I was with Fred when it jumped in 4 categories at Amazon first place, and it was a total surprise that we were talking, and then she went to Amazon and poof, appeared in 4 categories in #1. Wow! Was a total surprise. So it went 4 times Amazon bestseller. But we were in that moment preparing with Red that to publish the Unbreakable. Why Unbreakable? Because one of the things that I discovered during all this journey is that I have been talking about leadership. I have been talking about resilience. I have been talking about faith. I have been talking about how all of that rephrased me, and how I discovered that many of the things that I went through, I could survive it because of the faith. And when we got connected to our spirituality with our church, we began to do church service. Mervis, that is here with me, we have been involved in church service all over. By the way, in 1 hour, we're going to have an event that every Wednesday we handle here in our house. We receive people, and it's a group called Grupo Convida. It's a small group of our church that we it's like a cell, because it's the principle of the early Christianity that they met in their houses. So this is what we're doing today. So when we decided to go to Unbreakable, was trying to put those lessons that we have been learning through this journey, and it became to be the book. Unbreakable, we published 1 week ago, and it went also Amazon first place in learning growth, second place in personal development, and second place in spirituality. So he got 3 times Amazon bestseller too. So this book is less than 1 week. So when we decided to put this book, we were talking about biblical principles that help you to navigate your journey as a leader. Because the book is Unbreakable, Faith-Fueled Leadership for the Life's Toughest Battles. Because one of the things that we discovered, that people in life go through battles. In life, you will always go in adversities. You will have your own valley, your own desert, your own battles. But there are tools that you can find in the Bible. And those tools are going to be the tools that are going to shape you as a leader. Because when you're going to any adversity in your life, it's where your leadership is going to be tested. That's where really when your leadership is going to be tested. So I'm gonna give a snippet in the introduction of my book, because in the introduction of my book, I dedicate the book to God, to Mervis. I'm gonna say why I'm dedicated to Mervis, and to my family, because she graciously blessed us. Without them, none of this would have been possible. To God, because He was my refuge, my redeemer, and the source of everything that is unbreakable in me. This book exists because of His grace. To my family, whose prayers helped me when nothing else could. And to my beloved wife, Mervis, your love endured the unimaginable, and your faith never wavered. So I'm going to say why Mervis, because the people that are not familiar, during my 5 years of captivity, really my anchor was Mervis. She is the real hero of all this journey. because she was the who made me survive. She supported me not only logistically, emotionally, spirituality, because she was always taking care of me. Every time I was receiving food provided by her, I saw the cans with the food. It was not the food, was her love behind that. So this is part of why she is so important in this journey. When we went through Unbreakable, we divided the book as a tool that can be used to any leader that really needs to face battles in their life. And for example, if you go to the beginning of the book, you're gonna read that preface. I didn't see out to become a coach. For most of my life, I was a businessman. I was an executive. I was a husband. I was a father, doing my best to lead with integrity in a complex world. I believe in strategies, in system, in staying strong under pressure. But the life changed violently, suddenly, without warning. I was taken hostage in a political crisis that I didn't cause. I didn't ask permission to be there. Held in a Venezuelan prison for almost 5 years. During that time, everything I thought I knew about leadership, strengths, and identity was tested. And that revealed from the inside to the out. I didn't write this book to tell a dramatic story. I wrote it because I discovered in captivity didn't stay there. It followed me to home. It reshaped how I live, how I lead, and how I serve others. And most of all, it introduced me to something I had never truly known before, that is called the faith. Faith didn't walk into the cell with me. It came slowly, quietly, in moments of total surrender. When nothing else made sense, it found in the scriptures, in stillness, in the quiet truth that I was never actually alone. That discovered this didn't just help me survive, it transformed how I see everything, including the leadership. Today, my coaches describe me what I found in that dark. The true strength isn't built on control, but in presence. The clarity comes not from pressure, but from purpose. And the leadership isn't the core mass, but rooted in something deeper than performance. It must be rooted in faith. Unbreakable leadership was born from the belief. Every framework, every model, every session I guide leaders through is building the foundation that faith connects to everything. It changed my mindset. It anchors our decisions, and it sustains you when the pressure comes, because the pressure will always come. The book is for leaders, especially for those carrying more than they show. Sometimes you carry more than what you think you can support, but it's not that. You can support more. The ones people depend on, the ones under pressure, the ones who feel like they should have it all together, but deep down know something needs to be changed. You don't need more noise, you need more clarity. You don't need more harder, you need more rooted. And you don't need to go and do it alone. Unbreakable isn't about being invincible. It's about building a leadership foundation that holds even when everything else feels like it's falling apart. If you're reading for that kind of leadership, this book is an invitation for you. Not as a coach selling a program, but as a man who's been through a fire and is here to walk you with your own leadership. So let's begin. So, given this introduction, I want to say that this book has tools that you can use to navigate your toughest battles, to navigate any valley that you're facing, to navigate any hardship that you're having in your life, because it's rooted and it's based on things that we learn based in biblical principles. So, Red, the mic's yours.
Can I just dovetail on what it is that you were speaking on? Because everything that you do is based in faith. And that shows in all of your work and how you reach out to people, but also how people come to you as part of your community. In the book, you also wrote a letter to C-suite executives, and you addressed it to your brothers and sisters in Christ. I want you to sort of address that and who it is that you're actually speaking to. But could you just spend a moment talking about that this is accessible to everybody, that even those who maybe were walking the same path you were prior to your captivity and didn't feel that faith really spoke to them? Can you just talk about what it is that you teach and where the position that you come from, that even someone that may be not as, spiritual in the same place as your journey, that this can also apply to them and there can be some real value for them?
Yes, and it's very important because if you're not a spiritual guy, I'm not going to force, of course, that you have to discover your own path. But even the science today has confirmed what faith talks about. If I'm became very fan of the neuroscience, and the neuroscience has confirmed that the observer can transform what is being observed. That means that you can change your reality. So when you have faith, it's because you are reframing your reality. When you do affirmations, you are retraining your brain and you're changing your reality. So this is not spirituality. This is confirmed by the science. So any leader that is navigating any situation in their life, the first thing they have to do is believe in themselves, but also believing something superior to him, that is who gives you all the tools to navigate anything that you're going in your life. And those daily affirmations that we call prayers, but it can be affirmations. What you're doing is reframing your reality, because you are beginning to reaffirm what you haven't seen, what hasn't been yet, because you have maybe today this is your reality, but when you visualize where you want to be, that becomes to be the faith. And Dr. Dalal that is hearing me, he's a scientific that has studied this, and he can confirm what I'm saying. That the observer can change the reality. The observer can change what is observed, and that is the base of the faith. So everything is related to the faith.
In your book, you talk about Psalms 23. And one of the questions you asked, which is similar to what you're speaking about now, is what grounds you when everything else is gone?
Because there's where God is our protector, that protects us when we're going to any valley. So there's where, because when I was in my captivity, I'm gonna say it here, I was not aware about that when I begin to have what I call a revelation, I realized that he was always there with us. He never abandoned us, because God never abandons you. He always is protecting you. Even if you're going in a crisis, in a moment where you think that everything is lost, he is with you. He is protecting you, but you have to connect with him.
Well, he doesn't promise you a detour through the valley. He just promises that you don't have to walk it alone.
Yes, and he's a provider.
And that is what you discovered in captivity.
Yes.
This is a provider, he's a protector.
It's everything.
He's your friend.
You have to take his hand and walk with him.
Yes.
And share that journey.
He never abandons.
Can you do me a favor, just because we all know I'm Mervis's #1 fan? Can you just, speak to the connection to how it is that without Mervis, none of this would be here, and how it is that during your captivity, the importance that she played in helping you, and how it your first book became, and that built the foundation. You had been failed, and helped you through that process. So talk about how pressure creates leaders and how that's related to Unbreakable, the book, as well.
Well, you read in the Bible that the iron, you put it on steel and you beat it, and then you forge it, and you create the steel, and that the gold is the same, and the diamonds, all the precious metals had to go to fire, had to be beaten. to reframe it and make something beautiful. So that's what God does with people. And I had getting so surprised that in this journey, I was talking that this morning with Mervis, that now that I'm doing my podcast and I'm interviewing people, and the last also we had a wonderful conversation in his program about this. I have found a pattern in a lot of people. It's repeating, repeating, and repeating. People have gone through valleys, have gone through adverse situation in their life, have been bitter. But when they get connected to the faith and they go back to their spirituality, to that connection, it gives a boost. So the new reality is a boost. So they become not only better person, they become better leaders, better in everything, because now the people become to be more complete, because now the people know that they need to be kind, express gratitude, have empathy for others, have be a better communicator, and these are the tools that a leader needs to have. But I reframe everything through my captivity, because we were and the people that are hearing this, I was in a cage. We were 6 guys. We were living in a cage. The only way we could survive that was having empathy between us. The only way we could handle that was having communication between us, understanding the other, leading. It was not no. I was the CEO and I was leading the rest of the group. No, we became co-leaders. What was a collective leadership? How we did it? Well, everybody had some expertise, so that you were leading that expertise. The guy that was the guy that took care of our water control, that he was leading that. The guy that was sanitizing the room, he was leading that. The guy that was creating that exercise routine, he was leading that. The guy was taking care of the food, he was leading that. The guy that was praying and leading the prayer, he was leading that. So we recognized the leadership in each of us, and we respected that. There was nobody in the top of nobody. Everybody was leading. And this is something that, if you mirror that, that's what a leader has to do in their business. True. When you understand that makes better leaders. And these are these tools that you see here. And not only that, it's because it happened to us. It's a discovery that is set in the Bible. So you find in the Bible, and those tools are in the Bible. So you not only practice it, it's because they are in the Bible. It's becoming to be biblical principles.
Can we just speak for a moment? And we talk about making this book extremely accessible and extremely relatable to people. So I don't think anyone needs to sort of go to that extreme as far as being held in captivity to feel like they're in a prison. When we say prison, we often think about, it's about walls and bars and concrete and everything else. But you talk in your book about a lot of the real prison that people feel is the one that tests you, that it's something internal. Can you speak to that? Because I think we want to make sure that this is not just about that extreme. It's about the principles that you can apply in your life and everyone's business and everyone's leadership, as you were just speaking to.
Yes, that's so true, because the people that are hearing this, you don't have to be a physical prisoner. You don't have to be a physical hostage. But believe me, sometimes the people are in their mental hostage situation. They're stuck in their business. They don't know how to handle the situation. That business maybe is not growing. You're having problems with the people, with your client. You don't know how to handle that. That situation, sometimes being a mental hostage, sometimes is even worse than being a physical hostage. I say that people, they don't have to go through the process I went. So that's why the importance of this book and the coaching, because those tools that I learned there are here to help you. So you don't have to do the things. I already went through that, and I can navigate you how you can manage that. Things, for example, regretting balance in your life. So important. that the leadership in today's world. By the way, I was talking this morning about that. Leaders in this world are full of ego, self-centered. Everybody's thinking in themselves. I was talking with a guy that he told me that he felt that in his business he was bullied because his coworkers were bullying him. And I told him why. He said because everybody was full of ego. Everybody was full of ego. And when you go to the top, sometimes you feel that, I'm a great guy. I'm in the top because it's me. And it's not because of you. And when you go in that path, you begin to lose sense of reality and sense of contact with the people that really cares, that is your family. So it's so common that you go to the top in a leadership position, but you lose your family, you lose friends, you lose everything, because that was me. That was me, and that was a great lesson that I learned, and I'm here to share with you. I'm here to tell you how you can reframe this to become not only a good leader in your business, a good leader in your life.
Can you talk to vision in the dark? I think Jeremiah 29:11 is where you said that was a passage that wasn't just a motivational quote for you, but it was a lifeline. And you read it over and over and over. And it's for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. And trusting in that and having that vision in the darkness when you were in captivity, and how you then now relate that to the things that you're teaching in your coaching program.
Let me say to the people that are hearing this an episode that we went through in our captivity. We were in a dark place. We were in one of the worst dungeons, and there was a military that he was a very Christian guy, and he could smuggle us a pocket Bible. And one day he told us, "Do you want to come with me to read the Bible?" And we said yes. But how we do it? There were cameras. So we were in the middle of the night, in the middle of the darkness, in a corner where we cannot be seen with the light of a candle. We begin to read the Bible. So we were literally having light in the middle of the darkness. And we begin to see the light because we discovered, for me, it was mind blown. I'm going to say, when I discovered passage in the Bible, like the book of Daniel or the book of Joseph. By the way, Joseph, Joseph, in Spanish, Jose is Joseph. Joseph was falsely accused and was sentenced to 13 years. I was falsely accused for 13 years too. I discovered that later. So for me, that was like paralysis that blew my mind. Or the case of the transformation of Paul. So there are many, many examples in the Bible how people went to a dark moment in their life, and they went to a valley, but they stick to their faith and their belief in God, and that at the end they went through it. So that's today one of the most important messages that I have. You can work your darkness, you can work the valley, but you have to believe in yourself and believe in Him.
And from the darkness to gratitude. You talk about gratitude as a strategy and give thanks in all circumstances, and how you developed your own mantras while you were in captivity, and you found things to be thankful for when most of us maybe would not have been able to do that. Can you talk about that as well?
Well, I was a guy that I never expressed gratitude. As I said, I was full of ego, full of selfish. So I thought that everything was about me. So when I began to go to this dark moment, I really at the beginning didn't know how to handle this. But when you begin to get more connected to your faith, when we begin to pray, we discovered that God was with us, because there was a lot of episodes that I narrated in a book that really we discovered that God was there. So now you begin to have more peace. And we had a mantra, as Red said, we were shouting out every night after we finished our prayers. We need to come back strong in body, soul, and spirit. Because remember, you are a spirit that have a soul that are in a body. So you have to take care of the three. And we begin to take care of the three. We begin to take care of our body with the exercise routine. Their colleague, that he was a marathon runner. So he created a routine like we were going to run a marathon, because we were preparing to the long run, So we did exercise as we were going to a marathon for our body. We begin to cultivate our inner peace with reading and writing and try to have fun, and our spirituality with the prayers and the reading of the Bible. So we begin to take care of the three things. And at the end of the day, we shouted out that we needed to come back strong in body, soul, and spirit. But when I came back, I discovered that those small things that you take for granted, like going out in the morning and walk your dogs, or going out and see the fresh air, or in the night see the stars, I missed it so much that I really begin to think, wow, God. So there's where you get the turning point and begin to express gratitude. And let me tell you something. Again, neuroscience has confirmed that when you express gratitude, you are producing some hormone that is that it put you in it's the same that that when they put the mask when you're going to take out the teeth, something like that makes you smile. Well, that you get infused with happiness. So that gives you joy. The gratitude gives joy. So if you express gratitude, again, you are retraining your brain. You're rewiring your brain, and you're expressing gratitude, and that gives you joy. So every morning, not only morning prayers, morning expressing gratitude.
I think one of the stories that I think is remarkable of yours, where it is sort of in that same vein of expressing gratitude and having hope and letting that be your guiding light. Could you share with us briefly your luggage story?
Yeah. We were in the fourth year. We were in the fourth year of our captivity. And one day, because this guy always things were surprising. One day they opened the door and said, dress up that you're going to have a visit. So we dressed up and we went to the office of the director of the prison. So they put us some chairs and somebody was coming. And when they opened the door, it was a very tall guy. He was the ambassador, Roger Carson. By that time, he was the special presidential envoy for House Affairs of the U.S. government. And he was taking care of the direct negotiation to get us released. So we had the opportunity to have a meeting with him. So when we were having the meeting with him and the meeting was finishing, I came to him and said, Ambassador, we are gone. I don't know when, but we are gone. And he said, okay, you're very optimistic. He said, no. I'm not being optimistic. I'm sure that we're going to be gone. So the day after, these guys, because they were trying to have the sense that we were treating okay, because they were having direct negotiation. So they gave us a phone call. So we could call our families to tell about this visit. So I called my wife and said, well, we had a visit of the Ambassador Carter. He said that they're fighting hard to get us released. I said to my wife, Mommy, please tell Edgar. Edgar was the guy in charge of the logistics. Tell Edgar to bring me this Saturday a small carry-on and try to put some clothes there in the carry-on. And she told me, why? I said, no, because I want to be ready to go. And she said, bring me the carry-on, please. That Saturday, Edgar brought me the carry-on. And Edgar said, why you want the carry-on? And I took all the clothes that I have in the cell. I took everything out. Everything out. I got with the minimum clothes in my carry-on. So I put the carry-on in a corner. And every morning, I woke. The first thing when I woke, I saw the carry-on. And I began to talk to that carry-on. I began to talk to the carry-on saying, be ready, my friend, because we're going to go. And that began to be a daily routine, talking to the carry-on. It took 1 year But 1 year in October 1st, 2022, they opened the door and they said, dress up that you're released. And you know what? I brought my carry-on. The carry-on, I have it here. I have it here. And not only that, when I arrived here in the US, we're arriving in a military base called the Army Group Military Base here in San Antonio, Texas. And I came with my carry-on. And the time I stayed there was with the clothes that were in the carry-on. So my daughter, when she saw me going off the plane, she saw me with a carry-on and she said, Dad is coming, like he was coming from a vacation. Because the carry-on for me became to be my anchor. And today, what is the metaphor I use today? That, by the way, Fred helped me to craft that speech today. That is, you have a very heavy luggage that sometimes you put in your shoulder and it's heavy in your back. That luggage, you have to take it off and give it to God, because God says, give me your weight to me that I will carry it. So you give that luggage to him, but you stay with that carry-on, because that carry-on is your dreams. That carry-on, because I was talking every day until I come back, that became my dream. So that carry-on was my dream. And that's what you have to carry in your life. That carry-on, carry your dreams. Don't leave it. Pursue your dreams, and the burdens, give it to God. Give it to God. So this is the metaphor of the carry-on.
I think one of the things that you and I often talk about is the difference between baggage and luggage, and how you refer to your bag, as luggage, and how baggage is what weighs you down and luggage is what brings you to where you want to be.
Correct.
And I think that's a good metaphor for what it is that you experienced as well, and that hope and the vision you had in the darkness while you were in captivity.
Yes. And again, anybody that's hearing this, don't carry a baggage. Give the baggage to God. Mm-hmm. Carry your luggage. That is your dreams.
I think one of the things that you talk about in the book is, one of the questions you often get from people is they ask you how it was that you managed to survive almost 5 years in captivity, and how did you hold on? How did you stay strong? And how did you do it without, losing your mind and maybe, just being at your breaking point? And one of the things that you shared in the book is, the truth of the matter is that you did break, and more than once. But the difference between, your experience and getting out of there was that you just didn't stay broken. And that is the difference. And I think that's a lot of the foundation behind your Unbreakable Leadership book and your coaching program.
Yeah, because, adversities always will be there. If you're running a business, the probability to have adversity always will be there. Even you can fail. How many times people don't broke? You can even broke. But the point is that don't see that like a setback. See that like an opportunity. The great leaders, when they have a failure, they don't see it as a failure. They see it like an opportunity to do it better the next time. And they learn from that. They learn, and they not only come back, they come back, and they come back strong. And you said that we broke not once, several times, because it was 5 years. In 5 years, I remember I have another metaphor. Not a metaphor. It's just something that really impacted me. Alirio, there was a guy that was praying. He was the lead of the prayer. He was a very positive guy. The sixth of us, I believe the most positive guy was him. He was leading our prayers. Every night he was like the priest leading the prayers. We were like the pastor. And we were following his leading in that. And by that moment that we were almost get released, as I said, that they had relaxed the situation with us. Now we're having interaction with other people. And in the night we were doing a domino turn. So they put in the alley of the prison, they put some tables, and we sit down with other of the prisoners there. I was playing domino. My partner was a very famous journalist that is a political prisoner. He was my partner. And we were winning. Was funny because I never played domino in my life, and I began to become a great player of domino. And we were winning the tournament. But they gave us opportunity to play until 9 p.m. 9 p.m. the guards came and everybody to their jail. So the guards came and we said, give us a little bit of time because we're almost winning. And said, no, you have to go. So when I was going to my cell, I saw Alirio and I see him sitting in a chair. He was like totally down. And I sit down beside him and I hug him. And they said, what happened, Alirio? And he said, I'm sick and tired of this. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. First time I see that guy down. And I hugged him and said, my friend, believe that God makes possible the impossible. In any moment we could get released. And we got released 5 hours after. 5 hours after we were released. They came to the cell, opened the door, and told us to dress up that we were released. So in the darkest moment that he was down is where God operated. So that's how God sometimes do the things. But you have to have faith.
That's an amazing story. If you can, just in the last few minutes that we have together, if you would allow me to, I just would like to speak on your book a little bit and exactly what the benefits are to absolutely anybody. Even if they aren't in a position of leadership, I think the values that it teaches and the stories that you tell and the direction that you give isn't just for, advice to emerging leaders. I think it's advice to anybody. So some of the things that you speak on in the book is that you don't need to lead from proving, you need to lead from knowing. And how you speak on how you, for the longest time, wanted to prove that you were the smartest person in the room or the most capable or the most put together. And in the end, you discovered that real leadership isn't about proving your value. It's about knowing your value and helping others know theirs as well.
Yes.
And that's something that you cover in there as well. And then how to lead with conviction, not with control. And you can either control people or you can help people to grow, but you can't do both. And you speak about that from a leadership position as well. Protect your inner life more than your outer image. That's something that you had to discover and that you believe is a good foundational element of your coaching. And know where or what to stand for before you are tested. So crisis, as you were saying earlier, isn't something that you can avoid all the time, but it doesn't also have to define your values. It's where your values are revealed. So kind of going through those steps before there's an issue that you need to challenge, understanding how you want to sort of enter into a crisis or how you want to behave. In captivity, you had said that you had to get clear really fast on what you actually believed. And that's something that you help walk people through as well. And then finally, you said that leadership isn't about you. It's about who you lift and who you raise up. And that is the one challenge that you are probably the most grateful for, because leadership isn't a solo performance. It's a daily act of service. It's basically, solving problems and scaling systems and shaping lives. And you don't have to lose sight of exactly what it is that you're doing and who you're doing it for.
No, and remember you said that leadership is not a solo leadership, because you are the leader, but you have people. And that people are part of your team, and you cannot do things alone. You have to connect with them, and they become like your family. Because sometimes you spend much time with your colleagues and your peers than with your family. That's the truth. So why don't try to become friends and have a bond that they create that great relation in your business and the marketplace.
It's not about you; it's who you lift.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me just speak on for one moment now in the final minutes we have together. Is the book is extremely accessible. I feel that it is to anybody, faith-based or not, but also the way that the book is designed is you sort of lay out there what it is that you want to speak on And then you follow that up very closely with what you call your coaching connections. And that basically is how people can walk through exactly what it is that you just talked about. So, you have your coaching connections and you talk about, okay, this is what we just went over. These are the things that you can do and the questions that you can ask and some activities or some times that you can spend with, writing out some framework or talking about, some values that you have. So the book, as you go along, the chapters follow along your unbreakable leadership coaching, but in essence, it's sort of like you're there walking along as well, helping other people put some framework together.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you see the people that are seeing this, because I have the book from Hero to Villain and Unbreakable, but I have also the working book. Mm-hmm. That working book is called Unbreakable Leadership Coaching Program, and this is the tool that I use to implement all this we're talking to here. I always say this is not woo-woo. This is not woo-woo. This is something that was learned in the battlefield. So it's not in the boardroom. It was in the live classroom. So the thing that I teach is based on things that I went through and work because I'm here. So if it worked for me, it worked for you.
Faith in the fire.
Faith in the fire.
Can you share with everybody how to become, reach out to you, where they can find you, how, if they're interested in becoming a client, and also where they can find a link to your books. So if they would like to buy them, if they haven't yet.
Yeah. My webpage is joseconnect.com. In that webpage, you can find everything about me because there is a landing page for the book. For this book in particular, I have two ways. You can go or directly in my webpage, you can find a link to have a signed copy. So if you want to have a signed copy, I will receive that here. I will sign it and I will deliver to you. If you want to have only the copy, you go to the link of Amazon and you can go in Amazon. The other book that is From Hero to Villain, also there is both in English and in Spanish, same thing. There is a link to my coaching program. There is a link to my speaking. There is a link to my podcast because I have the podcast. And if you would think that you can be a great guest, you can put your thing there to become a guest there. I'm going to become also the host of a program. It's going to air in a couple of weeks. It's going to be in Spanish, but it's talking about leadership, unbreakable leadership. For me, everything today is unbreakable because everybody is unbreakable. What you have to do is discover that inside you, you have to unleash it.
So for anyone that is on the live and in the Zoom conference, we have just put in the chat the link to Jose's website, but it is joseconnect.com. And Jose, if I can ask you a question I have asked you a few times before, in the final moment we have together, if I gave you 60 seconds to tell us a story, what would the world learn from you?
That everything in life is achievable. By the way, you're seeing in the screen, the webpage. Alison, if you can go, before we continue, go to the Unbreakable book. Okay, do the click there. Okay, you go a little bit down. This link that you see here is for the purchase signed copy. If you want to have a purchase signed copy, you can do it here. If you want to have an Amazon copy, you go scroll all the way down. So you all the way down. And here you can find the other link that's it for the Amazon. Here is also a trailer of the book. If you want to see the trailer of the book, but you can find it. Yeah, Alison is hitting the trailer. So this is a trailer of what the book is about. And what is the lessons that I can tell the person? I have this band that I always show it when I show it here. That this band was given by Mervis when I was in my captivity and has here, never give up.
Mhm.
So this is today my motto. In any circumstance in life, never give up. Anything that you're going in your life, never give up. If you fall, never give up. Stand up, never give up. Because life will bring you challenges. Valleys, you will always win in valleys. Mountains to climb, they will always come. But don't see you in that circumstance. Visualize yourself where you want to be. And if you're walking in your purpose, if you're walking in your dreams, pursue them. Pursue them. If you can run, run. If you can walk, walk. If you cannot, crawl, but keep going. But never give up. Never give up.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that I have learned from you over the years is your faith and your commitment to sharing that faith and what you have learned is truly unbreakable.
Well, the people that are hearing me, I always say this became to me a calling. A calling, and everything that I'm doing today is very intentional. All the books that I decided to write, the speech they are doing, the classes they are doing, the coaches that are doing, and I'm beginning very soon also the nonprofit that is called Angels Helping in Earth. Everything is based on what I call, and Dr. Dalal will love this because he has a book about that is called The Legacy. The lifetime legacy. Everything for me today is to leave a legacy to my grandsons. The other day I was having a conversation with Martin, my grandson. Martin has today 10 years. And we were here and I told him that I had written this new book. And he always is curious with me. And I said, Papi, I'm beginning the nonprofit. The nonprofit is called Angels Helping in Earth. And I visualize you running that in 40 years. And you know what he did? He began to cry.
Oh.
He began to cry, and but his crying was like he didn't believe that I said that to him. So I touched his heart. So how long is this to run? No, we're finishing. We're finishing.
We're wrapping up right now, Bill.
We're wrapping up right now. Yeah, we're coming to the end. So for me, that is a lifetime legacy. And everything that you do in life, find your purpose. Try to leave a legacy because everybody has a purpose in life. Visualize what is your purpose and leave a legacy.
Jose, I am very grateful for you and your time today and sharing your expertise and experience. And your time is extremely valuable, and I hope I honored that here today.
Thank you. Thank you to the people that could come. There was some technical issues with some connection, but we're gonna leave some recording that I know that people are gonna be hearing it. Thank you, Red. You're part of my journey. Alison, thank you for all you do, and thank you the people